Do I live my life just for myself? Or do I live my life for this whole world? Hello everybody, it's Jason, and I'm here answering your questions about Zen, meditation, your practice, life, any kind of question. Today's question is about attachment. Can we live a life without attachment? Let me read this question for you. Jason, I have read about attachment in Buddhism and wonder, how is it possible to live a life without attachment when I have a family, job, and worldly interests? Does one have to become a monastic to live a life without attachment? This is a very good question, and it's a question that I hear quite often. I think the first thing to look at is attachment. What is attachment? In Buddhism, attachment is another word for clinging or perhaps grasping. And we can grasp or cling on to many different things. One of them would be sensual pleasure. Like, I want to see beautiful things. If I see beautiful things, that brings me joy, happiness. If I see things that I don't like, then I'm dissatisfied. Or perhaps we want to hear wonderful things. I like to hear the birds chirping and the wind blowing through the trees. If I get that, I'm satisfied. If I hear dogs barking or cars driving by, I don't like that, so I'm dissatisfied. Perhaps we want to taste very good food. Who doesn't want to taste good food? If I taste good food, then I'm satisfied. If I'm eating food that doesn't taste very good, I'm not satisfied. Another type of clinging or attachment is after material things. If I get this certain type of car, then I'll be happy. If I get this house of my dreams, that will bring me great joy. If I have a lot of money, then I will be truly satisfied. So I think many human beings, I would say most of us probably, have experienced this type of clinging or attachment. And it's not good or bad. I want to make that very clear. It just has a natural result. And I say this in many of my videos. If I don't get those material things, then I'm dissatisfied. If I get those material things, I cannot keep it. Perhaps my car gets smashed. Oh, I'm dissatisfied. Maybe the house isn't exactly the way I really want it, so I'm dissatisfied. Maybe I spent all of this money and now have no more money. I'm truly disappointed. Another type of attachment that maybe we don't think about so much is the clinging or attachment to our ideas, our beliefs, our opinions. My belief is the truth. My opinion is the truth. And if anybody says something different, then I get angry and then I fight with them. This also can include a clinging onto the idea of myself or my idea of this world. Have you ever had this experience where you did something and you thought to yourself, well, that's not me. I never do that. Or maybe we have some idea about the world and we start to see the truth of this world, and the truth of this world and our idea about this world doesn't match. And it creates a lot of dissatisfaction for our lives. Sometimes when people see all of these attachments clearly, maybe they read some books about Buddhism, they may think to themselves that I'm going to leave this worldly life and become a monastic. Now that is a path that one can take. In fact, I took that path some years ago. But one thing that's important that we need to keep in mind is that a monastic and a layperson are both human beings. Human beings have two things in common. First, we all have enlightened nature. Second, we all have some grasping in our minds. One thing we have to realize is attachment does not come from anything outside of ourselves. We have to look within. Now, sometimes the world is just too much, so maybe we need to retreat. Maybe taking the monastic path is the correct thing to do. I know people who struggle with alcohol have to completely quit alcohol and perhaps join some kind of support group. But what they usually realize, it's not the alcohol that's causing the problem, or it's not the source of the problem. There's something deeper within. So it's the same way with Buddhist practice. We're getting to the root of the clinging, the root of attachment. So what is that? There are many different practices and ways to approach this. In Zen, we always go to the root of suffering. So if I believe in this thing, I have an opinion about that, I need this thing to make this I happy. Well, what is that I? Where does this I come from? So that's just one technique that we use in Zen. There's a saying in Zen, forget about the branches, get to the root. So that means getting to the root of attachment. One thing I do to really look into attachment is to look at the bigger picture. So right now, there's a lot of changes going on in our family. Our son Miles, some of you know Miles, is entering middle school. So our daughter's going to one school, and now our son Miles is going to a different school. So my wife and I are trying to adjust our schedules and changing a lot of things. And as I look back several years, a lot of things have changed that I didn't want to change. There are things that I really would like to do, but I can't do them. And that's disappointing. So what's been helpful is to look at the bigger picture. So for me, it's seeing that what we are doing in our lives, my wife and I, are not just for us. It's for our family. And that's really what I think practice, Buddhism, and Zen is about. Is the focus is not so much about me, my own happiness. And like I mentioned earlier, there's nothing good or bad about that. It's just that we're always going to end up dissatisfied. But when we really see the bigger picture, to perceive the connection with this world, to perceive the connection that all human beings have in common, then we start to think about the bigger picture. We start to think about this world. and we start to think about the people in this world. And for me, that really helps with this clinging or attachment. Yeah, maybe initially there's some sadness or dissatisfaction. But in my gut, it feels more correct. I don't know what other word to use, but it feels right. I don't even know if that's a good word to use. But you can feel it, or at least I feel it, in my gut that this makes sense. And it's more important than just my own desire. Does that make any sense? I think this all comes down to one thing. Do I live my life just for myself? Or do I live my life for this whole world? Which includes myself, because I am not separate from this world. Now, often this just sounds like some spiritual idea. But if we're truly practicing, becoming intimate with this moment, then it's not just an idea, it's an experience. And this experience turns into action. So if we want to live a life without attachment, we don't have to give up anything in this world. We just need to wake up, become intimate with this moment, and then we can truly see that happiness does not come from anything outside of ourselves. It's already here in this very moment. Those are my thoughts for the day. I hope this video was helpful. You can let me know by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, put a comment down below. I'd also be interested in hearing from you about attachment. How do you deal with attachment in your own life? Okay, everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you very soon.